somebody started a vicious rumor, that the Panthers, the players were at a strip club last night, They lose 5-1 and then they go to the strip club. Baloney! I don't believe it. I don't believe it happened. You want to prove it to me? Send me the pictures. No, really. If you got pictures, send the pictures.
Let's go Panthers! Let's go Panthers! Let's go Panthers! Let's go! Go!
Puck drop. And 3, 2, 1.
Let's go Panthers! Let's go Panthers! Let's go Panthers! Let's go! Go!
All right. Game 4. What else is there to say? Hit 2,000 subscribers today. I cannot thank everybody enough. I just finished a live stream. It was absolutely crazy. We had 130 people in there. People throwing super chats at me like I was at the strip club. You see what I'm saying? Oh, man. So thank you to everybody. All right. Big thanks to so many people who have helped. Stu especially has been instrumental, and obviously I don't get Randy and Billy without him. He's given me a lot of credibility, so big thanks to you, brother. Steve, One Bad Steve's been another guy who's been a big help behind the scenes doing things that some people don't really even know he's doing. So just thank you to everybody. Just huge thanks. Now, that being said, not tonight. We're not getting swept the same day I hit 2,000 subscribers. That's not going to be allowed to happen. So what do we got on the ice? We got Mammon on the top line. We got Lundell is back in. Lomberg is out. Duclair is out. And Joe Thornton draws in. So somebody asked me on the stream if I would be angry, mad, upset, how I would describe it. I think the anger part, that bubble kind of burst with 3.8 seconds left in Game 2. I don't think angry is there. Upset, disappointed, a lot of those things, that will happen. But that's not going to happen tonight. I'm really hoping, and I know, look, like I said, Kyle says we're going to reverse sweep. I know people think we can do it. It's obviously not impossible, but you have to win one. For me, I want to see at a minimum, you get this game here, you go home, win a game at home for these fans. You win Game 5 at home for these fans, okay? I don't think that's too much to ask, being the first team to beat Tampa 2 games in a row in the playoffs in forever. All right? The season that this team had, make it respectable. If you do that and you go into Tampa Game 6 and they're too much for you, they're the 2-time champs, I won't like it, but I can accept it. But I can't accept this. I can't accept the sweep, and I sure as hell can't accept being eliminated at home. So let's make this happen. Because it's going to be a long enough summer as it is if we don't pull off the miraculous reverse sweep. So make it respectable. At least get it to where we took them to 6 last year, and we took them to 6 this season. We're going to need players to show up big tonight. And I'm tired of waiting for it to be Barkov and Huberto, who are actually on the same line with Mammon tonight. It is what it is line-wise. You're trying to make something happen. What I would love to see is Joe Thornton get a goal or 3. Make it happen. Make something happen. Somebody step up and do something. All right. This will not be the last one of the year. Let's see what happens. All right, so it's no score after 1. Right now, we can hang we played a pretty good first period in Game 4 banner up, so that's a thing. Obviously, we 17-3, we lead in shots. We cannot beat Andrei Vasilevsky, which is it's not a shocker, is it, right? You know, a lot of the shots are from not close in. Huberto had a really nice opportunity close in, and he passed the puck to Radko Gudas instead. Drew a penalty, but I want to rephrase that. I want to repeat that. Jonathan Huberdeau had a chance in close against Vasilevsky and passed the puck to Radko Gudas, who was covered, by the way. Gudas had a man on him. Huberdeau was alone, 2 feet from the net, and Huberdeau passed it to Radko Gudas. All right, so there's no score after 2. I'm going to start at the end. There's 10 seconds left. I think it was Reinhart gets the puck to Barkov. He comes down into the offensive zone, and there's nobody with him, and he's just coasting in. And instead of just trying to make a play and shooting the puck, he just basically holds on to the puck until there's 2 seconds left. Back passes to nobody, and the period ends. It's embarrassing. Now, let's talk about let's just talk about this. All right, first off, let's just go with the second goal. It was clearly a hand pass. I don't think you can't argue that. There was clear video evidence. He hit it with his hand. Okay. However, the first goal. Now, obviously, Palat, he thinks it hits the net, the mesh. Huberdeau obviously thinks it hits the mesh. Now, there's 2 possibilities here. The first possibility is the referees had an angle that the TV guys didn't have, and something showed where it hit the mesh. Or the referees did what they really shouldn't do by the rule book and said, look, all the players can see that it hit the mesh, or at least Palat can see that it hit the mesh. It obviously went up and then kind of plopped straight back down, so it hit something, but we don't see it hit the mesh, but it hit something. And so unless it's like Cabin in the Woods where there's like an invisible wall in the middle of nowhere, by default it had to hit the mesh, and they called it back. Now, technically, that's not how they're supposed to call it. They're supposed to have indisputable. They're supposed to have video evidence that shows it. So either the refs did the Panthers a favor, or they had an angle that we didn't see, because there was nothing that the TV guys were showing that physically showed the puck hitting the mesh. So it's no score after 1, which the 0 scored by the Panthers isn't a really big surprise, because Vasilevsky, that's what he does in elimination games, is he shuts people out. And what is it, 34, 35 shots on goal, 61, 62 shot attempts. We've got a goose egg on the board. Now, that might make you think, why am I complaining about Huberdeau passing too much in the first period, or Barkov coming down and passing to nobody? Because those are the guys that are supposed to make this happen. I'm apoplectic at Barkov here. That sums him up perfectly. It sums him up perfectly. It sums up his play in the playoffs perfectly. It's one thing to be non-aggressive. It's another thing to be passive to the point that you're ineffective. And that's what he becomes. It wasn't like, even if it was just going to be a one-on-one between him and the defender, make a play. Try it. See what happens. He waited for 6 or 7 seconds when there's only 10 seconds left. And he's holding on to the puck. It's friggin' embarrassing. It's disheartening. It's embarrassing. And all that said, we might be here a while tonight. We might be here a while tonight. I remember a game long time ago with Patrick Waugh and John Van Beesbrook, and it was a 3-0 series lead, and nobody could score. I remember that game. Wow. All four recaps like this. 3 goals in 4 games. 3 goals in 4 games. All right, where do I start? Oh my God, where do I start? Because no matter what I say, there's more to be said. You know what I mean? If I say Huberdeau and Barkov, somebody's going to say it was coaching. If I say coaching, somebody's going to say it was the depth scoring. If I say depth scoring, somebody's going to say it was Barkov and Huberdeau. It's all of it. Where does it stop? Where does it start? Who the hell knows when you get beat like this? So I'm going to give my opinion. That's what I have to give. I said yesterday that I felt like this was a team that didn't believe in the coach, that they didn't believe that he would put them in positions to win. We rolled 4 lines consistently all season long, and for some reason in this series he thought it was a good idea not to do that. Okay. Now, what I said in the first period, after the first period, after the second period, Huberdeau in close, passing the puck. Barkov basically all alone passing, waiting to pass the puck. Not just passing, but instead of challenging the defender who was there with him, just standing still and waiting for somebody else to come do it. And nobody did, so he passed it anyway. He didn't even just, hell with it, throw a shot at the net. It's pathetic. There are some non-negotiables here if this team is going to move forward. At the top of that list is taking the C away from Barkov. Not saying it's all his fault, but I don't need to go off on this all over again. Most people agree he's not captain material. You have to have a captain, a true captain. We don't. No, not all him. Jonathan Huberdeau played the worst 4 games I think I've seen him play, if not ever, in a long, long time. I have never seen him so scared with the puck. Not just indecisive, not just inconsistent, but incoherently ineffective. It's almost as though he would get the puck and Gru was there with his freeze ray. Because he would get the puck and he was just skating himself in circles until somehow he could unload it. I've never seen a player fold and choke the way he did in this series. I've just not seen it happen, and I'm sure other fans of other teams have their stories, and that's fine. But in terms of watching the Panthers, we don't have a big playoff history. I've not seen a player just cough it up 4 nights in a row of terrible, terrible play. Verhaeghe did what he could. It still doesn't look right, but at least he was taking shots. I mean, we had 49 shots. So obviously, just like yesterday, you have to give credit where credit is due. Tampa is better at every space. We talked about this on the stream. And Tampa doesn't have Braden Point. And we are getting excellent goaltending from Bobrovsky. We have Ekblad back. We have Giroux. We have Reinhardt. We have Lundell. Who am I missing? Sherratt. We have all that added as compared to last year. And we looked astronomically better last year. Only one thing explains that, and that's coach. That's the only explanation for a team that regressed as significantly as we did from the series against Tampa last season to this season. Just like Barkov, it's not entirely Brunette's fault, but he can't survive this. This is not, this can't be survivable. You have to have a veteran coach for this team. I cannot imagine the owners, Bill Zito, being okay with this to the point because we finally won a round. Because if you really are honest about it, Carter Verhaeghe won a round. Yeah, we beat Washington in 6. But Carter Verhaeghe saved our ass in that series. You know it, I know it, we all know it. And if Washington hits the empty net in Game 4, we're not. This was over a long time ago. So, all right. We now begin the summer of fuck. The bickering back and forth between fans on Twitter about Brunette or not Brunette, and Drew and not Drew, and Sherratt, and what do we do with Uyghur, and are we going to sign Mammon, are we going to sign Marchment, can we afford both, what about Hornquist and his contract? It's just endless, which in many ways is good for me and the channel because there will be plenty of material. And people like conflict, so we'll have plenty of that. But all I'm going to say at the beginning of this is that if you think Brunette should stay, you probably can make a good case. If you think Brunette should go, you could probably make a good case. There's really no case. The only case for Barkov keeping the C is trying to find other teams that have lost in the playoffs and then won. But this is, I know we won a round, but I still feel like this is a regression from where we were last year. You can't play the same team and only get 3 goals in 4 games and consider the year a success, thinking that you've made a step forward. Yeah, you won a round, but it doesn't feel like we made progress. It just doesn't feel like we made progress. And I might sleep on that and feel differently about it, but right now, in this moment, it feels worse than last year. Because nobody expected us to even really struggle against Washington the way we did, except for maybe Washington fans, and that's fine. But this, and I know Vasilevsky played a hell of a game. There's no doubt about that. We had 49 shots. We should have had more. And I know I grasp how that sounds. But just in the power play, just the overpassing and the slowness in which we moved the puck around could have easily led to 2 or 3 more shots each power play that we had. But it didn't. It didn't. Because this team is not, what's the word, motivated. They're not motivated. You know, it's long been a thing in South Florida sports. It's been talked about with the Dolphins for a long time, about how the lifestyle down there in South Florida makes it tough for athletes to win championships because there's a lot of distractions. I know the Heat won, but let's face it. The Heat built a ridiculous super team and still managed to lose 2 of the finals that they made it to. The Marlins have won sporadically when or before they've blown things up. The Dolphins haven't even won anything since I was 1 year old. And then you had the Panthers. And I think more than anything, the lifestyle down there affects the hockey players more, because many of them are from northern climates in Canada. So it's easy, like Huberto, to just kind of be like, hey, life is great. Look at me. I'm at the beach. I'm on my scooter. Meanwhile, what they're not doing is putting in the extra work at the rink and taking it ridiculously seriously like some of these people do. But then you still have to look at that theory and go, well, how do you explain Tampa? Do you see what I'm saying? And that's the kind of thing that we're going to see all summer long, is regardless of what point I make or somebody else can make, there's valid counterpoints. It's going to be a disaster, because really, in one shape or form or another, we're all right. We all have valid points about the reasons why this is happening, because it's all of the reasons. So the fix comes in the manner of, how do you fix all of it? There's only one way to fix all of it, and that is a new coach willing to make some tough decisions and difficult moves to remove the wrong players, bring in the right players, position them in a way that they can win games, and have players that believe in the coach. And that's it. And I'm not even saying it's Brunette's fault, but replacing him is the only way to fix all of it. Or at least to make a move that in theory will change enough to fix all of it. Like I said, angry, mad, no, that bubble got burst with 3.8 seconds left. When we couldn't clear the puck and we made that mistake and the puck was in the back of the net and you're down 2-0 to the champs, we can be all positive and hopeful and don't give up and all of that, but I knew, you knew, we all knew. You're down 2-0 to Tampa. Hey, come on. This is not Washington or even Carolina. This is Tampa we're talking about. Who they're going to win the third cup. No, I have no doubt about that. Nobody's beating this team the way Vasilevsky. It is what it is. But that doesn't mean we can't make changes that get us closer. Because we were close last year. We're way further off now. And we've significantly improved in terms of players on paper. The only thing that's changed is the coach. And we went from taking Tampa to Game 6 with lousy goaltending to being swept with excellent goaltending. And I'm sorry for anybody that disagrees. And I understand it's not all on him. It is up to the players. But at some point, if your players are not playing for the coach, you can't get rid of all the players. I would be shocked if he gets signed. I would be shocked if he gets signed. And look, that's not what I wanted. I've been back and forth on Brunette. Been back and forth on a couple of things. That's the nature of... Made over 300 videos for this season. I'm going to have nuanced opinions. They're not always going to be the same exact thing. After the Washington series, I thought, all right, maybe Brunette can pull this off. Even though he did get out-coached in the Washington series. The only reason we won that series is just pure talent was that much better. But we could play 3 more games against this team. I I didn't see anything that showed me we can win a game against this team right now, against Tampa. You know, a couple more lucky bounces one way or the other. Maybe we could eke out a win, but beating them 4 out of 7, please. We're not close. We've gotten way further behind than we were last year. And to be honest with you, part of the reason why I want Brunette gone is simply for hope's sake. If you keep Brunette and you keep Barkov as captain, somebody sell me how we're going to get better. Are we suddenly going to expect Barkov or Huberdeau to become playoff performers and turn it on? How do we get better? That's the good question. For those of you who disagree with me about Brunette, how do we get better? How do we fix what we just witnessed if you don't bring in a new coach to change the whole thing? You tell me. I'm listening. I'm open to it. But short of bringing in like Trotz, taking the captain away from Barkov, giving it to somebody deserving, Ekblad, if you don't want to give it to Hornquist because you don't know about his contract status. You don't know what you're going to do with Uyghur, but if you get a new coach, he's going to look at the roster, look at the cap space, and say, we're not going to be able to sign this kid, so you probably would be trading him for what you can get. It's not a knock on Uyghur. He's going to be getting $7 or $8 million. We don't have it. We don't have it. So you have to get what you can for him when you can. And if we can push him out and use that money to sign Sherratt, we don't lose all that much if we lose anything at all. And I know that will be controversial of an opinion for some, but it's a business. We can't sign everybody. In terms of tonight, you know, there's only so much to say. It's been the same story pretty much all 4 games. It's everything. We're being outcoached. We're being out-hustled. We're being out-muscled. We're being barely out-goalied, but you can't say Bob let one in. I know the circumstances of the goal make it ridiculous that it went in, but he let one in, and Bob and Vasilevsky let none in. So even by a small margin, Vasilevsky was better. There's no way around that. On an individual basis, on an individual level, did you like anybody's game in the 4? Is there any player that you could point to and say, at least they showed up, other than Bob? Maxon, Mammon? Verhaeghe-ish? Hurt-ish? I mean, can you throw another name out there on the whole roster that you say, that dude played a good series? Ekblad's hurt, you can tell. He's not skating right. His stride, his legs are separated out too much. His back is hurt. You can see that. Not that he played bad, but he's hurt. Uyghur improved as the series went along, but you certainly can't say he played a whole good 4 games. Did anybody have a good 4 games? I mean, seriously. Other than Bob. Forsling, no. No. Montour, maybe. I mean, but he didn't really give us much on offense. Nobody. Really nobody. Mr. Reinen. Okay. We're reaching now. You see what I'm saying? We're really reaching. And if the entire team looked bad for 4 games, it's usually instructional. It's usually coaching. It's usually coaching. It's just the way it is. like Angie Brunette, think he's a good guy, and I think it's a shame that this happened with Q because it worked. And now Brunette gets thrown in there, and he's not ready. Yeah, he led us to the best Panther season ever. But come on, a dead cat could get 100 points with this roster in the regular season. Okay? Come on. Let's be honest here. All he had to do was say, don't change anything that Q told you guys to do. It's not difficult. That part wasn't difficult. I mean, at one end, you say he steadied the ship, okay, but on the other hand, his job was literally not to change anything. You see what I'm saying? And when he has had to make adjustments and changes, he's not good, and that's being generous. Oh. So, alright, that's enough of that. Hit 2,000 subscribers today, and it really is bittersweet because I know if this had gone 7 games and we gone on to the Eastern Conference Finals and the Stanley Cup Finals, at the pace I'm getting subscribers now, I would have hit 3,000 or 4,000 subscribers. I think I've gotten 60 or 70 new subscribers today alone. So I appreciate all of the help. Stu has been a massive help. He committed to doing every game. He doesn't get anything out of this other than getting to do it. So we all give him a follow on Twitter, please. Please. He's earned it. He's earned it. Content is not stopping. Stu and I will be back tomorrow morning, and I'm sure we're going to probably have 2 or 3 season wrap-up videos, and then not skipping anything. The only question I have tomorrow is I don't know if I'm doing Canes and Rangers or Edmonton and Calgary because it happens to be high tide at 3:30 tomorrow afternoon, and the weather is right, and I don't have Matthias here, and I might just put the kayak in the van and go fishing for a few hours, and that kind of makes that 7 o'clock start for the Ranger game a little iffy. But my intent is to continue to make content with as many games as I can, as long as the season is going on. So, some of the Panthers postseason, what are we going to do stuff will come after the Cup run. And I think some of you Panther fans might appreciate that. I'm sure for a week you kind of might want to just not think about this. All right. Oh, man. This gave me a headache tonight. This gave me a damn headache tonight. Haven't had one in a week or so. But this... I mean, Pat Maroon had to chop up and almost hit Bobrovsky in the head, and somehow the puck manages to get hit with it below the crossbar, and Bob's just standing there like, and the puck's between his legs, and nobody on the Panthers said, Bob, it's between your legs, it's going behind you, sit down, Bob. Nobody communicated. You just let him stand there and watch the puck roll ever so slowly over the line. And we're done. Stu and I'll be back in the morning. I appreciate all of the support this season. It has been my best year ever, obviously. What I learned this year is that, yes, I can do this for a living. Might take a little bit of time to build up to where that's what I'm doing only. But that's the goal. That's the goal, for me to be able to start one of these seasons and say, this is all I'm having to do. I won't quit, so we'll just have to see how long that takes. much else to say.